Hey everyone, welcome back to our deep dive into some intriguing UPSC questions. आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे 1996 के कुछ प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस, जिसमें हिस्टोरिकल टेम्पल्स, वैदिक लिटरेचर और एंशिएंट जैन टेक्स्ट का जिक्र है. So, let's get started. Harsh, shall we begin with the first question about the different eras?
Sure, समय. ये सवाल ईयर्स और उनका स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट कनेक्ट करने के बारे में है. लिस्ट ई में विराम एरा है और लिस्ट 2 में ईयर्स एसोसिएटेड विद दीज ईयर्स दिए गए हैं. ऑप्शंस भी दिए हैं बट लेट्स ब्रेक दिस डाउन पहले.
Absolutely, Harsh. The answer is D, A4, B3, C2, D1. जैसे कि विराम ईरा 58 BC से स्टार्ट होता है. विक्रम ईरा 58 BC से शुरू होना वेल डॉक्यूमेंटेड फैक्ट है, जो इनसे एसोसिएटेड रूलर्स और उनके टाइम पीरियड को डिफाइन करता है. Understanding the timeline of Indian history is crucial, not only for exams but for grasping the socio-political dynamics of the time.
Great explanation, अनन्या. चलो, मूव करते हैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पर. सवाल है, the river most mentioned in early Vedic literature. तो, ऑप्शंस हैं, सिंधु, सुतुद्री, सरस्वती, एंड गंगा.
आई थिंक इसका आंसर सरस्वती है, राइट? अर्ली वैदिक लिटरेचर में सरस्वती रिवर का काफी ज्यादा मेंशन है. इस रिवर को सरस्वती सिविलाइजेशन से भी कनेक्ट किया जाता है, जो आज के टाइम्स में लार्जली ड्राइड अप हो चुकी है. इट्स ऑफन रेफर्ड टू एज द क्रेडल ऑफ द वैदिक सिविलाइजेशन.
बिल्कुल सही हर्ष. सरस्वती रिवर को ऋग्वेद में एक्सटेंसिवली डिस्क्राइब किया गया है, इसलिए ये करेक्ट आंसर है. यह वैदिक टाइम्स की सिग्निफिकेंस बताती है इन शेपिंग हिस्टोरिकल नैरेटिव्स.
On point, guys. अगला क्वेश्चन, which one of the following is not a part of early Jain's literature? Options are Theragata, Akangasutra, Sutra Kritanga, Brihatkalpasutra.
इंटरेस्टिंगली इसका आंसर है और थेरगाथा. अनफॉर्चुनेटली थेरगाथा जैन लिटरेचर का पार्ट नहीं है, यह एक्चुअली बुद्धिस्ट टेक्स्ट है. दिस इज अ कलेक्शन ऑफ पोएम्स बाय द अर्ली बुद्धिस्ट नन्स.
Yes, understanding these differences in ancient texts is crucial. Jain literature में अकारंग सूत्र और सूत्र कृतांगा belong to Jain canonical texts, especially for the Swetambara sect, which helps in understanding the philosophical aspects of Jainism.
Perfect. Moving on to the last question for today. Which of the following were common to both Buddhism and Jainism? बिना ऑप्शंस के भी इतना तो जरूर पता होगा कि दोनों धर्म निर्वाणा, कर्म और हिंसा पे फोकस करते हैं.
That's very true. Buddhism and Jainism का overlap is seen in teachings like ahimsa, non-violence, karma, action and consequence, and the pursuit of spiritual liberation. दोनों traditions originated in the Indian subcontinent और similar socio-cultural context से influence हुई थी.
और यही चीजें दोनों religions को unique yet interconnected बनाती हैं. अगर यूपीएससी सिविल सर्विस एस्पिरेंट्स ये अंडरस्टैंड कर लें, it helps a lot in essays and understanding India's philosophical heritage.
Exactly, अनन्या. Alright, ये था आज का insightful discussion on some historical UPSC questions. हमारा एम ये है कि आपको डिटेल्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग माइल, जो आपके प्रिपरेशंस को नेक्स्ट लेवल ले जाए.
Yes, and to our listeners, remember to keep revising and delve deep into these topics. That's where true learning lies.
Absolutely. Stay curious, stay motivated, and let history guide your future. Until next time.
Alright folks, let's dive into some thought-provoking multiple-choice questions from previous UPSC exams. We've got some intriguing historical questions lined up today. Harsh, why don't you start with the first one?
Sure, Samay. The first question is about the Sogora copper plate, the Rimandi pillar edict of Ashoka, the Prayaga Prasasti, and the Mehrauli pillar inscription of Chandra. In 1998, which one of these is significant in context?
This is an essential question for understanding ancient Indian inscriptions. The Sogora copper plate is one of the earliest known copper plate inscriptions, dating back to the Mauryan period, offering insights into the economic conditions of that time. Samay, what do you think?
Right. While all these inscriptions are significant, if you're thinking in terms of the 9-year rule and administration, the Rimandi pillar edict of Ashoka stands out. It marks Ashoka's visit to Lumbini. Harsh, what's your perspective?
I agree. While the Prayaga Prasasti, or the Allahabad pillar inscription, is vital in detailing the achievements of Samudragupta, in this context, the Rimandi pillar edict of Ashoka holds historical prominence for its unique association with Lord Buddha's birthplace.
Great insights. Moving on to the next question. The Eightfold Path forms the core theme of which text in Buddhism? Dipavamsa, Divyavadana, Mahaparinibban, or Dharma Chakra Pravartana Sutta?
Well, the Eightfold Path is a significant concept in Buddhism, often illustrated through the teachings associated with Lord Buddha. The Dharma Chakra Pravartana Sutta is the text that captures the essence of the Eightfold Path. It's the first sermon given by Buddha.
Exactly, Samay. This text essentially forms the bedrock for Buddhist philosophy. It's important for UPSC aspirants to understand the fundamental doctrines that shaped Buddhism's influence in Asia and beyond.
Yes, and such insights are crucial for the paper on history and culture. Alright, next up is a map-based question from 1998. It refers to the geographical extent during particular reigns. Which era does it illustrate? Kanishka's death, Samudragupta's southern campaign, Ashoka's reign's end, or the empire of Thanishwar before Harsha's accession?
This can be tricky without visuals, but if we ponder over the geographical expanse of these empires, the map indicating the reach towards the Indian Ocean and Arabian Sea would suggest Samudragupta post his South Indian campaign. His conquests were significant in expanding the Gupta Empire.
Absolutely, Harsh. The map likely highlights the southern excursions under Samudragupta that extended the cultural and political landscape of the Gupta dynasty. Ananya, shall we jump to the next one?
Yes, let's discuss trade. After the Roman Empire fell, Indian merchants pivoted towards which region's trade network? African, West European, Southeast Asian, or Middle Eastern?
A historical analysis suggests the Middle Eastern trade became prominent after the Roman Empire. These routes were essential as they connected India to rich markets and resources, fostering economic prosperity.
True, especially with the Silk Road flourishing, the Middle Eastern trade networks were crucial intermediaries for the exchange of goods and culture. Ananya, wrap us up with the sequence question.
Absolutely, Harsh. The chronological sequence of visits by F. A. Heen, Ising, Megasthenes, and Wen Sang is quite fascinating. It's B. 3, 1, 4, 2, with Megasthenes arriving first during Chandragupta Maurya's time followed by F. A. Heen, then Wen Sang, and finally Ising.
Perfect, Ananya. Such sequences not only aid in historical understanding but are great for making educated guesses in the exam. What's our final question?
The last question is about the most powerful city-state in 6th century BC India. The answer is Magadha, which rose to prominence under rulers like Bimbisara and Ajatashatru, becoming a formidable power in ancient India.
Rightly said, Harsh. Magadha's strategic location and strong leadership laid the foundation for future empire. That's a wrap for today's session, team. These discussions really bring out the depth of India's historical expanse.
Absolutely, Ananya. Until next time, let's keep diving deep into these topics and providing valuable insights for our UPSC aspirants. Let's get ready to tackle more complex questions in our next session. Stay curious, everyone. Welcome back, aspirants. आज हम कुछ पहले के साल के यूपीएससी के ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करने वाले हैं जो कि नॉट ओनली इंट्रीगिंग है बट ऑल्सो क्रूशियल फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द डेप्थ ऑफ इंडियन हिस्ट्री. सो लेट्स डाइव इन.
बिल्कुल, समय. So, let's start with our first question, which is about the early Indo-Greek kingdoms. It's called an Indo-Laos kingdom, set up in North Afghanistan at the beginning of the 2nd century BC. The options are A. Bactria, B. Scythia, C. Zedrisha, and D. Arya.
ये क्वेश्चन हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव्स को समझने के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. If we look at the historical records, Bactria stands out as the right answer. Bactria was a major center under the Indo-Greeks in North Afghanistan.
Yes, exactly, Ananya. Bactria not only played a vital role in trade but also in cultural exchanges across the region. इसका influence Indian subcontinent तक भी था.
Alright, so moving on to our next question. ये भी 1999 से है. The term Aryan denotes, and the options are A. An ethnic group, B. A nomadic people, C. A speech group, and D. A superior race.
हिस्ट्री और एंथ्रोपोलॉजी दोनों में आर्यंस को एनालाइज करना एक इंट्रिकेट टॉपिक है. However, in this context, it is often linked with a speech group. आर्यंस को इंडो यूरोपियन लैंग्वेजेस के स्प्रेड के साथ एसोसिएट किया जाता है.
हाँ, और ये बात एम्फसाइज करनी जरूरी है कि आयंस का कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्टॉर्शंस और स्टेरियोटाइप्स के थ्रू भी देखा गया है, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग colonial times. But for our context here, the accurate answer is a speech group.
Good point, Samay. Let's proceed to another question. So, which one of the following ports handled the North Indian trade during the Gupta period?
The Gupta period is known as the Golden Age of India, and commerce, art, and culture flourished. The main port during this period that handled North Indian trade was on the eastern coast, Tamralipti.
Absolutely, Tamralipti was a significant port in today's West Bengal region. It served as a critical trade hub connecting India with Southeast Asia and even further beyond.
That's correct. These questions not only test our factual knowledge but also help us understand historical contexts deeply.
हाँ, और इसी तरह के डिस्कशन से हमारी प्रिपरेशन और भी ज्यादा इंसाइटफुल बन जाती है. It's these little nuggets of history that often carry the most weightage.
And with this insightful understanding, we wrap up today's discussion. Keep analyzing and revising, because as they say, history repeats itself. Till next time, happy studying. Hey Harsh and Ananya, let's dive into today's discussion on some fascinating UPSC-style objective questions from previous years. Starting off, we need to match the ports, specifically, Tamralipti, Groat, Kalyan, and Cambrai, with historical contexts.
Absolutely, Samay. This list of ports was significant in ancient India for trade and commerce. Tamralipti was a famous port during the Maurya and Gupta periods, located in present-day Bengal.
Right. Moving on to the assertion reason questions, we have an interesting set about Aham and Puram poems. The assertion states they formed a continuation of the Sangam composition, while the reason says they were part of post-Sangam works. What do you think, Ananya?
In this case, both the Aham and Puram poems were indeed continuations of the Sangam literature. So, both A and R are true, but R is not a correct explanation of A, thus, I'd pick option B.
Agreed. Now, on Jainism and its stance on non-violence, there's an assertion that Ahimsa prevented agriculturalists from embracing Jainism, with the reason being that farming involves killing pests. Harsh, what's your take?
Definitely, agriculture did pose a challenge to the Jain principle of Ahimsa. However, it wasn't solely this aspect that prevented agriculturalists from embracing Jainism. So, both A and R are true, but R doesn't fully explain A, therefore, the correct answer is again, B.
Moving on, let's discuss the feudal system's origin, which the assertion links to military campaigns. But the reason talks about the Gupta period's expansion. A bit tricky, right?
Yes, but historically, the roots of the feudal system are found in land grants given for military services. The Gupta period witnessed expansion, but that's not the origin. Hence, A is true, but R is false. The answer is C.
Coming to Ashoka and Kalinga, the assertion that Ashoka annexed Kalinga is true. The reason provided is about controlling land and sea routes, which is valid but not a direct cause of the annexation. So, both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. The answer, therefore, is B.
Great discussion. Now, who introduced military governorship in India? It was the Greeks who brought this concept after Alexander's invasion.
Exactly. And speaking of Alexander, the Nanda dynasty was ruling over North India during his invasion.
That wraps it up with a deep insight into these questions. It's always fascinating how these historical nuances connect to our present understanding.
Indeed, it's crucial for UPSC aspirants to grasp these intricacies to form comprehensive answers.
Let's continue this engaging discussion next time. Let's dive into some fascinating UPSC-style multiple-choice questions from previous years. We've got quite an engaging set today. So, Harsh, पहला question है from the year 2000. Options में दिया है नंदा, मौर्य, सुंगा और काम्वा. History students, prepare yourself for a blast from the ancient past.
हाँ समय, ये question actually ancient Indian dynasties से related है. इस question का correct answer है B, Maurya. The Maurya dynasty is quite significant, especially if you remember Ashoka and his contributions to Indian history.
बिल्कुल सही हर्ष. Moving on to the next question from 2001. Hoysala monuments are found in. इसके options हैं Hampi and Hospet, Hilbid and Belur, Mysore and Bangalore, Sringeri and Davao. यहाँ clearly, the correct answer is B. Hilbid and Belur. Hoysala architecture is remarkable, and these places are indeed a testament to their architectural splendor.
Right, Ananya. Hoysala monuments are a must-visit for anyone interested in Indian architecture. Next up, Harsh, we have a question on matching historical art and civilizations. Which one of the following pairs is correctly matched? Options are A. The Harappan civilization, painted graveware, B. The Kushans, Gandhara school of art, C. The Mughals, Ajanta paintings, D. The Marathas, Pahri school of painting.
इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन समय यहाँ पे करेक्ट ऑप्शन है बी द कुशान्स गंधारा स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट गंधारा आर्ट इज फेमस फॉर इट्स ग्रेको बुद्धिस्ट स्टाइल इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय द कुशान्स
एग्जैक्टली अजंता पेंटिंग्स मुगल पीरियड से नहीं लेकिन प्रीहिस्टोरिक और अर्ली हिस्टोरिक इंडिया से एसोसिएटेड हैं। ए फ्लैट चलते हैं असर्शन रीजन क्वेश्चन पर। असर्शन है हर्षवर्धना कन्वीन्ड द प्रयाग असेंबली। रीजन दिया गया है he wanted to popularize only the Mahayana form of Buddhism. Options देखते हैं समय।
Options are A. Both A and R are true but R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true but R is not a correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. D. A is false but R is true.
ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी लग सकता है, लेकिन फोकस करें तो द करेक्ट आंसर इज बी Both A and R are true but R is not a correct explanation of A. Harshavardhana did convene the Prayag assembly, but it wasn't purely for popularizing Mahayana Buddhism. It was more of a grand assembly or congregation of religious leaders from various faiths.
Absolutely harsh. और अब आते हैं एक और historical conquest पर which one of the Chola kings conquered Ceylon? Options are Aditya I, Rajaraja I, Rajendra, Vijayale.
This one's interesting. The correct answer is B. Rajaraja I. He was the Chola king renowned for his military conquests and Tamil Nadu's rich history.
सही समय और आखिरी क्वेश्चन जो हमारे पास है, ये भी काफी नोटवर्दी है। Who among the following presided over the Buddhist council held during the reign of Kanishka at Kashmir?
इसका आंसर है वसुमित्र। During Kanishka's time, the Fourth Buddhist Council was a significant event that codified Buddhist texts.
Wonderful discussion, guys. History and culture truly form an integral part of the UPSC exams and knowing these details can certainly give aspirants an edge. Keep up the enthusiasm and continue exploring these fascinating layers of history, folks. Welcome back, friends. आज हम एक और इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन लेके आए हैं जो यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। हाश, आज हम किस क्वेश्चन पे फोकस कर रहे हैं?
आज की डिस्कशन में हम एक इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन एक्सप्लोर करेंगे जो 2001 के यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स से है। क्वेश्चन है, which one of the following animals was not represented in the seals in terracotta art of the Harappan culture? ऑप्शंस है अ पार्शव, बी नागार्जुन, सी सुद्राका, डी वसुमित्र।
यार हर्ष, मुझे लगता है कि इस क्वेश्चन का अप्रोच थोड़ा अलग होने वाला है क्योंकि ये डायरेक्टली हमारी हिस्ट्री और आर्कियोलॉजी से लिंक्ड है ना?
बिल्कुल सही कहा अनन्या। हरप्पन सिविलाइजेशन की सील्स और टेराकोटा आर्ट हिस्ट्री में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट प्लेस होल्ड करती हैं, पर्टिकुलरली बिकॉज दे टेल अस अबाउट द सिंबॉलिक एंड रिलीजियस बिलीफ्स ऑफ द टाइम।
एग्जैक्टली, हरप्पन सील्स में काफी एनिमल्स का डिपिक्शन मिलता है जैसे कि यूनिकॉर्न लाइक फिगर्स, बुल्स, एलिफेंट्स एंड सो ऑन। बट अगर स्पेसिफिक एनिमल्स की बात करें तो कुछ होते हैं जो बिल्कुल भी रिप्रेजेंट नहीं किए गए।
ट्रू, हाश। और मुझे पता है कि ये यूपीएससी का टिपिकल अप्रोच है टेस्ट करने का, एस्पिरेंट्स की नॉलेज को उनके एप्लीकेशन स्किल्स के साथ।
दैट्स राइट। तो चलो सबसे पहले समझते हैं कि इन गिवन ऑप्शंस में से किस एनिमल का हरप्पन सील्स में कोई मेंशन नहीं है। फ्रॉम आवर रिसर्च, इट्स क्लियर दैट मेनी टिपिकल इंडियन एनिमल्स लाइक लायंस एंड हॉर्सेस वर नॉट डिपिक्टेड।
बिल्कुल समय। एक्चुअली एक इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट है कि लायन, जो आज भारत के लिए एक आइकॉनिक सिंबल है, वो हरप्पन आर्ट में डिपिक्ट नहीं होता। बट इस क्वेश्चन में स्पेसिफिक ऑप्शंस के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें तो ऑप्शंस में जो दिए गए टर्म्स हैं वो शायद कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं।
हाँ, क्योंकि ये ऑप्शंस सीम टू बी मोर रिलेटेड टू एंशिएंट पर्सनालिटीज एंड फिलोसोफर्स रादर दैन एनिमल्स। ये क्वेश्चन ट्रिकी है, हर्ष ने बिल्कुल सही पॉइंट आउट किया। यूपीएससी कभी कभी इस टाइप के कंफ्यूजिंग और मिसलीडिंग ऑप्शंस प्रोवाइड करता है।
Absolutely. हाश, ऑप्शंस को देखकर लग रहा है कि क्वेश्चन फ्रेमिंग में कोई एरर है या तो उनका कॉन्टेक्स्ट अलग है। आई थिंक दीज आर इनकरेक्टली लिस्टेड एज दे आर नॉट एनिमल्स।
करेक्ट, समय। ऐसे क्वेश्चंस आपको कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी के लिए एनकरेज करते हैं कि आप थरो रिसर्च करें इंस्टेड ऑफ रोट लर्निंग।
परफेक्टली समड अप, हाश। तो इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर डायरेक्टली तो नहीं है गिवन ऑप्शन से, बट हमें हड़प्पन सिविलाइजेशन की सील्स की ओरिजिनलिटी को समझने का एक नया पर्सपेक्टिव मिलता है।
तो एस्पिरेंट्स, यह क्वेश्चन हमें ये सीख देता है कि हड़प्पन आर्ट एंड कल्चर का कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग कैसे जरूरी है और कैसे ऑप्शंस को केयरफुली एनालाइज करके आंसर डिड्यूस करना है। तो अगले एपिसोड तक हैप्पी स्टडीइंग एंड कीप एक्सप्लोरिंग।
गुड बाय दोस्तों, स्टडी स्मार्ट।
Take care and keep questioning.
Hey guys, welcome back to another insightful session. Today, we are diving into some intriguing UPSC questions. Let's decode these with logic and some fun insights. Ready to tackle the first one?
Absolutely, Samay. Looking at the first question from 2002, it's a classic match the following type. Let's match ancient sites with archaeological findings. The options are
A. Lothal, dockyard. B. Kalibangan, plowed field. C. Dolavira, an inscription comprising 10 large signs of the Harappan script. D. Banwali, terracotta replica of a plow. So, Samay, which code fits the bill?
Well Harsh, the correct answer is option D, A2, B1, C4, D3. Lothal is indeed famous for its dockyard, Kalibangan had plowed fields, Dolavira is known for its inscriptions, and Banwali, a terracotta replica of a plow. Isn't it fascinating how these findings give us a glimpse into the past?
Absolutely, Samay. Moving on to the next question, which asks which one of the statements is not correct. The options are A. The statue of Gomteshwara at Shravana Belagola represents the last Tirthankara of Jains. B. India's largest Buddhist monastery is in Arunachal Pradesh. C. Khajuraho temples were built under Chandela kings. D. Hoysaleshwara temple is dedicated to Shiva. Harsh, what's your take on this one?
Ananya, this one is interesting. The incorrect statement here is A. Gomteshwara actually represents Bahubali, who is not the last Tirthankara. The other statements are correct. For example, Tawang Monastery in Arunachal is indeed India's largest Buddhist monastery.
Right on, Harsh. Now, let's talk about the ceremony called Pavrana in ancient Indian Buddhist monasteries. The options are A. Occasion to elect the Sanghaparanayaka and 2 speakers. B. Confession by monks of offences committed during their stay in the monasteries during the rainy season. C. Ceremony of initiation of a new person into the Buddhist Sangha. D. Gathering of Buddhist monks on the next day to the full moon day of Ashadha. Samay, enlighten us.
Sure, Ananya, the answer is B. Pavrana is indeed the confession by monks. This was an important ceremony after the rainy retreat, allowing monks to self-reflect and confess any wrongdoings. It's fascinating how structured their community life was.
Fascinating indeed, Samay. Now, moving on to the ancient Indian play Mudrajakshasa by Vishakhadat. The subject is
A. A conflict between gods and demons. B. A romantic story of an Aryan prince. C. The story of the power struggle between 2 Aryan. D. The court intrigues at the time of Chandragupta. Ananya, what do you think? It's option D, Harsh. The play deals with court intrigues at the time of Chandragupta Maurya. It's quite the political thriller, showcasing the cunning and strategic play of Chanakya and others.
So true, Ananya. Lastly, the question about Emperor Harsha's southward march being stopped on the Narmada River. The options are
A. Pulakeshin I. B. Pulakeshin II. C. Vikramaditya I. D. Vikramaditya II. Harsh, close this session with your answer.
Of course, Samay. The correct answer is B. Pulikeshin II. He stopped Harsha, and it was a significant moment in history, marking the Vindhya Mountains as a political boundary between the northern and southern empire.
Perfect. And before we wrap up, considering the Chola dynasty's dominance, both statements given are correct. The Cholas did defeat the Pandya and Chera rulers and also sent expeditions to the Shailendra Empire in Southeast Asia.
Well, that's a wrap, folks. Remember, it's not just about memorizing facts for UPSC. it's about understanding the context and significance. Keep exploring and learning.
Welcome back friends to another exciting segment on ancient Indian history and some cracking UPSC questions. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Absolutely, Harsh. These questions are always intriguing. So, let's start with the famous Amrit Chakatika. This is an ancient Indian play written by Shudraka. Options are quite interesting too.
Yes, Samay, Amrit Chakatika is a Sanskrit play that indeed revolves around the love affair of a rich merchant with the daughter of a courtesan. So, the correct answer is option A.
Correct, Ananya. It's fascinating how ancient literature can give us insights into social structures of the past. Moving on to the next question about Vardhaman Mahavira and Gautam Buddha.
Right, let's break this down. First statement, Vardhaman Mahavira's mother was the daughter of the Lichavi chief Chetka. That's true.
Exactly. The second statement, Gautam Buddha's mother was from the Koshalan dynasty, which is also correct. And the third, Parshvanatha, the 23rd Tirthankara, indeed belonged to Benaras.
So, all the statements are correct, making the answer D, 1, 2, and 3. It's crucial to remember these connections in Jainism and Buddhism for the exams.
Precisely. Now, let's tackle the political history involving the Mauryas, Sungas, and Kamvas.
Yes, the first statement is true. Brihadratha, the last Mauryan ruler, was assassinated by his commander-in-chief, Pushyamitra Sunga.
And the second statement is also true. The last Sunga king, Devabhuti, was indeed assassinated by Vasudeva Kamva.
Finally, the third statement is correct too. The last ruler of the Kamva dynasty was deposed by the Andhras. Hence, the answer here is D, 1, 2, and 3.
Important political transitions like these highlight the changes in power dynamics in ancient India. Now, on to the statements about the Chinese pilgrims Fa Hien and Hiuen Tsang.
The first statement is incorrect. Fa Hien did not attend the Fourth Buddhist Council during Kanishka's time.
And as for Hiuen Tsang, he indeed met Harsha, but found him supportive, not antagonistic, towards Buddhism. So, both statements are incorrect. Hence, the answer is D, neither 1 nor 2.
It's amazing how foreign accounts validate our historical records. Lastly, let's talk about Jainism. Who's got the next question?
I think we covered most. But remember, UPSC questions often delve deep into the philosophical and historical contexts of religions like Jainism. Always keep an eye on those details.
That wraps it up, folks. Keep revisiting these classics, they are packed with information that will definitely aid your UPSC prep. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back, listeners. आज हम कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग यूपीएससी के ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे. Harsh, why don't you start with the first question from 2004?
बिल्कुल समय. पहला सवाल है regarding Jainism. According to the statements given, हमें identify करना है which one is true. Statements देखते हैं.
A. Jainism was spread in South India under the leadership of Sthalabahu. B. The Jainas who remained under the leadership of Bhadravahu were called Shvetambaras after the council held at Pataliputra. C. Jainism enjoyed the patronage of the Kalinga king Kharavela in the 1st century BC. D. In the initial stage of Jainism, the Jainas worshipped images unlike the Buddhist. Ananya, what do you think?
Interesting question, Harsh. मुझे लगता है statement C is true. कलिंगा किंग खरावेला की जैनिज्म को पैट्रोनेज देना हिस्टोरिकली रिकॉर्डेड है. स्थलबाहु वाली स्टेटमेंट गलत है. Actually it was Bhadravahu who led Jainism into the south, and the followers were called Digambaras, not Shvetambaras. Also, image worshipping initially in Jainism wasn't there, वो बाद में आए.
That's correct, Ananya. Next up, हमें वेदास के बारे में पूछो गया है, specifically which Veda contains magical charms and spells?
Right, options है A. Rigveda, B. Yajurved, C. Atharvaveda, D. Samaved.
Well, I think it's the Atharva Veda. ये वेदा specifically magical charms और spells के बारे में है, unlike the Rigveda जो hymns से भरा है, यजुर्वेद जो rituals के बारे में है, और समावेद जो music और chants के लिए है.
Correct again. Atharva Veda is indeed known for its magical charms and spells. आगे चलते हैं. Next question है from 2005. Who among the following was not a contemporary of the other three? Options are A. Bimbasara, B. Gautam Buddha, C. Milinda, D. Prasenjit.
ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी है, पर इफ वी एनालाइज, मिलिंडा यानी मेनंदर ग्रीक किंग था और वो बाद में आया ड्यूरिंग द 2nd सेंचुरी बीसी। बाकी सब 6th-5th सेंचुरी बीसी के अराउंड थे। सो मिलिंडा वॉज नॉट कंटेम्पररी टू द अदर्स।
एग्जैक्टली। इसी तरह के क्वेश्चंस ट्रिकी हो सकते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ क्रोनोलॉजिकल एनालिसिस। समय, व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट?
Next question from 2006. Who laid the foundation of the Rashtrakuta Empire? Options में है A. Amoghavarsh, B. Danti Durga, C. Dhruva, D. Krishnaya.
हिस्ट्री क्लियरली मेंशंस दैट इट वाज दंती दुर्गा जिन्होंने राष्ट्रकूटा एम्पायर की नींव राखी थी। He was a key figure in establishing their dominance in Deccan, especially in the 8th century.
अग्रीड। राष्ट्रकूटास के एक्सपेंशन का क्रेडिट लार्जली गोज टू दंती दुर्गा। फाइनली, हमें एंशंट टाउन ऑफ तक्षशिला के बारे में पूछो गया है कि वो कहाँ लोकेटेड था।
Well, Takshashila was an important center and it was located between the Indus and Jhelum rivers in modern-day Pakistan. It played a crucial role as a center of learning and trade.
Absolutely, उसकी strategic location made it a hub for scholars and traders alike. और इस तरह हम इन क्वेश्चंस को अप्रोच करके नॉट ओनली आंसर्स फाइंड कर सकते हैं बट ऑल्सो उनके पीछे के हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट को समझ सकते हैं।
Well summarized, Harsh. That's all for today's segment. Let's continue to explore more such questions in our next discussion.
Great discussion, guys. Listeners, stay tuned for more insightful discussions. Happy studying. Welcome back, friends, to another exciting episode where we decode some of the tricky UPSC multiple choice questions. आज हम 2006 के कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे। हाश, रेडी हो?
बिल्कुल, समय। चलो, पहला क्वेश्चन लेते हैं। यह रिवर्स से रिलेटेड है। 2006. Which two rivers form the confluence at Harik? Options है A. Indus and Jhelum, B. Jhelum and Chenab, C. Chenab and Ravi, D. Ravi and Beas.
ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा जियोग्राफी ओरिएंटेड है। हरीके पंजाब में है और फेमसली इट इज द कॉन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ रवि एंड बीज। सो करेक्ट जवाब होगा ऑप्शन डी, रवि एंड बीज।
परफेक्ट, अनन्या। चलो अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं, जो कि एंशंट इन्वेडर्स पे बेस्ड है। 2006. With reference to the invaders in ancient India, which one of the following is the correct chronological order? Options हैं A. Greeks Sakas Kushnas, B. Greeks Kushnas Sakas, C. Sakas Greeks Kushnas, D. Sakas Kushnas Greeks.
ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी है। हिस्टोरिकली ग्रीक्स नोन एज इंडो ग्रीक्स आए पहले इन द 2nd सेंचुरी बीसी। फिर सकास आए एंड फाइनली कुशनास। तो सही सीक्वेंस होगा ऑप्शन अ, ग्रीक्स सकास कुशनास।
अग्रीड, हाश। हिस्ट्री की क्रोनोलॉजी यूपीएससी में काफी क्रूशियल है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं, जो इक्ष्वाकु और पला डिनेस्टीज से रिलेटेड है। 2006. Consider the following statements. 1. The Ikshwaku rulers of southern India were antagonistic towards Buddhism. 2. The Pala rulers of eastern India were patrons of Buddhism. Which of the statement, S, given above is, are correct?
स्टेटमेंट्स को थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़े। इक्ष्वाकु रूलर्स आंध्र प्रदेश रीजन में थे और यस, जनरली उनका इंक्लिनेशन बुद्धिज्म के खिलाफ था कंपेयर टू हिंदुइज्म। और पला रूलर्स बंगाल रीजन के, उन्होंने बुद्धिज्म को सपोर्ट किया, समर्थन दिया।
तो कंक्लूजन ये है कि स्टेटमेंट 1 सही है एंड स्टेटमेंट 2 भी सही है। दोनों करेक्ट होने की वजह से आंसर होगा ऑप्शन सी, बोथ 1 and 2।
एब्सोल्युटली, हाश। ए फ्लैट चलते हैं अगले क्वेश्चन पर, जो कि इंस्क्रिप्शंस पे बेस्ड है। 2006. The Allahabad pillar inscription is associated with which one of the following? Options हैं A. महापद्मानंदा, B. चंद्रगुप्ता मौर्य, C. अशोका, D. समुद्रगुप्ता।
ये क्वेश्चन काफी फेमस है। अलाहाबाद पिलर इंस्क्रिप्शन, जिसे प्रयाग प्रशस्ति भी कहते हैं, समुद्रगुप्ता से एसोसिएटेड है। It details his conquests and achievements.
That's right, समय। तो करेक्ट आंसर है ऑप्शन डी, समुद्रगुप्ता।
और फाइनली, हमारे पास एक मैथमेटिकल क्वेश्चन है। What does Bodhayan theorem, Bodhayan Sulva सूत्र्स, relate to?
बोधायन थियरम पाइथागोरियन थियरम का पुराना वर्जन है। It relates to geometry, specifically right-angled triangles. एंशंट इंडियन मैथमेटिशियंस ने ये थियरम बौधायन सुलवा सूत्रास में डिस्क्राइब किया था।
Exactly, Harsh. इतनी रिच है हमारी इंडियन मैथमेटिकल हेरिटेज भी। Listeners, remember, UPSC questions test your depth and understanding. Stay curious and keep revising.
और इसी के साथ आज के सेशन को यहीं पे समाप्त करते हैं। कीप लर्निंग, कीप ग्रोइंग। मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में विथ मोर इंसाइट्स।
टेक केयर, एवरीवन। स्टडी हार्ड एंड स्टे मोटिवेटेड।
Alright, दोस्तों, let's dive into our first question from the UPSC previous year papers. ये क्वेश्चन है, which of the following can be used for logarithmic calculations? Options हैं
A. Lengths of sides of a right angle triangle. B. Calculation of the value of pi. C. Logarithmic calculations. D. Normal distribution curve. तो हर्ष, तुम्हारा क्या कहना है?
गुड क्वेश्चन। अगर हम लॉगरिथमिक कैलकुलेशंस की बात करें, तो वो डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड है ऑप्शन सी से, विच इज क्वाइट एक्सप्लिसिट। Lengths of sides in a triangle, pi, and distribution curves deal with different aspects of mathematics altogether. Samay, if you remember, logarithms essentially simplify multiplicative processes, right?
बिल्कुल सही कहा हर्ष। लॉगरिथम्स का मेन यूज ये है कि वो कॉम्प्लेक्स कैलकुलेशंस को सिंप्लीफाई कर देते हैं, स्पेशली इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सपोनेंट्स। सो आई एग्री, द आंसर हियर क्लियरली इज सी।
राइट समय एंड हाश, क्योंकि यूपीएससी फैक्चुअल नॉलेज और कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी को टेस्ट करता है, ये जानना इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हम नॉर्मली लॉग्स किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में यूज करते हैं, एंड हियर ऑप्शन सी मेक्स परफेक्ट सेंस।
आगे बढ़ते हैं और अगले क्वेश्चन की तरफ चलते हैं। अनेकांतवाद इज अ कोर थियरी एंड फिलॉसफी ऑफ विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग?
A. Buddhism. B. Jainism. C. Sikhism. D. Vaishnavism. अनन्या, तुम इस क्वेश्चन को कैसे अप्रोच करोगे?
अनेकांतवाद की फिलॉसफी जैनिज्म के साथ डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड है। ये फिलॉसफी मल्टीपल व्यू पॉइंट्स को एक्सेप्ट करने की बात करती है, मीनिंग द वर्ल्ड इज परसीव्ड इन मेनी वेज। किसी ने सही कहा है, ट्रूथ इज मेनी साइडेड, और यही जैनिज्म का कोर बिलीफ है।
करेक्ट अनन्या, और ये स्टेटमेंट जैनिज्म के स्याद्वाड़ा और नेवाड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट्स के साथ भी लिंक करता है। सो द आंसर इज बी, जैनिज्म।
ग्रेट इनसाइट्स। चलिए अगली क्वेश्चन पर चलते हैं। There are only two known examples of cave paintings of the Gupta period in ancient India. One of these is paintings of Ajanta caves. Where is the other surviving example of Gupta paintings?
A. Bagh caves. B. Ellora caves. C. Lomas Rishi cave. D. Nasik caves. हाश, क्या तुम्हें कुछ याद आ रहा है?
हाँ समय, गुप्ता पीरियड की अगर बात करें तो बाघ caves are quite significant. These caves, located in Madhya Pradesh, are known for their exquisite paintings similar to those found in Ajanta. So, the answer is Bagh caves.
Absolutely harsh. It's fascinating how these caves reflect the rich cultural and artistic heritage of the Gupta period.
आखिर में, हमारा आखिरी क्वेश्चन जो इंडिया के अर्ली मैरिटाइम हिस्ट्री को लेकर है। For this preeminence of early maritime history of Bay of Bengal, which of the following could be the most convincing explanations?
इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, इंडिया की स्ट्रैटेजिक लोकेशन एंड मॉनसूनल विंड्स का रोल बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट था। यह फैक्टर्स ट्रेड के लिए क्रूशियल थे। समय, तुम इस पे क्या कहना चाहोगे?
मेन ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि मैरिटाइम नॉलेज एंड एडवांसमेंट्स इन शिप बिल्डिंग वर ऑल्सो सिग्निफिकेंट। Indian traders understood the sea routes quite well, which gave them an edge in trade relations in Southeast Asia.
बिल्कुल सही। इन सब फैक्टर्स की वजह से इंडिया ने साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के साथ अपने कल्चरल एंड ट्रेड लिंक्स को इफेक्टिवली मेंटेन किया। दिस वॉज अ रिमार्केबल फीट इन एंशिएंट मैरिटाइम हिस्ट्री।
ग्रेट डिस्कशन गाइज। आई होप स्टूडेंट्स ये कॉन्वर्सेशन सुनकर और उन्हें इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस को हैंडल करना आसान और इंटरेस्टिंग लगेगा। कीप एक्सप्लोरिंग एंड हैप्पी लर्निंग। Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode where we dive deep into some challenging UPSC multiple choice questions. आज हम 1995 और 1996 के कुछ selected questions discuss करेंगे। Let's start with a question on Ashoka's inscriptions. हाश, क्या तुम हमें बता सकते हो कि अशोका किस नाम से जाना जाता था अपनी inscriptions में?
बिल्कुल, समय। Ashoka was generally referred to as Priyadarshi in his inscriptions. This term means one who looks at all with affection. It's a reflection of his philosophy and approach towards governance, especially after the Kalinga War when he embraced Buddhism.
Exactly, Harsh. अशोका का प्रियदर्शी मामला हमें ये भी दिखाता है कि कैसे एक रूलर अपनी आइडेंटिटी को रीडिफाइन कर सकता है बिलीफ्स के थ्रू. It's a fascinating aspect of history where personal transformation impacts governance.
Moving on to our next question. Ancient Sanskrit texts mention the term Yavanapriya. Ananya, इसके बारे में तुम्हारा क्या कहना है?
Right, Samay. Yavanapriya actually referred to black pepper. It's quite interesting because pepper was greatly valued in ancient times and was often traded with Greeks, who were referred to as Yavanas.
हाँ, and it's a great example of how trade and cultural exchange were integral back then. Pepper, यानी कि Yavanpriya, played a pivotal role in fostering connections between distant civilizations.
That's insightful. A flat आगे बढ़ते हैं towards a philosophical question. The concept of anuvrata was advocated by whom? Harsh, तुम्हें क्या लगता है?
Anuvrata was advocated by Jainism, not Buddhism. More specifically, it was a part of the teachings of Jainism that focused on non-violence and ethical living for laypersons. These were small vows or lesser vows that even lay followers could practice easily.
Such concepts showcase how different philosophies during ancient times catered to various societal needs. Jainism ने non-violence यानी अहिंसा पर बहुत जोर दिया और अनुव्रता is a prime example of that.
Absolutely. आज हमने कुछ interesting facets cover किए but let's wrap this up with a question from the medical field during the Gupta period. कौन जाना जाता है अपने medical contributions के लिए इस दौरान?
During the Gupta period, it was Vagbhat who was notable for his work on Ayurveda. He composed texts like Ashtanga Hridaya which are fundamental to Ayurvedic medicine even today.
Yes, and the Gupta period was really a thriving time for scientific and intellectual advancements in India. Vagbhata's contributions are a testament to the rich legacy of ancient Indian medicine.
Well said, Harsh and Ananya. आज का एपिसोड काफी informative रहा and I hope our listeners enjoyed this deep dive into some classic UPSC questions. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious. Welcome back, dear listeners. आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं कुछ यूपीएससी मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस जो पिछले सालों के क्वेश्चन पेपर्स से लिए गए हैं. ये क्वेश्चन सिर्फ नॉलेज हाई नहीं बल्कि आपकी एनालिटिकल स्किल्स भी टेस्ट करते हैं.
बिल्कुल समय. चलिए पहला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. Question of 2011, as compared to other countries, India had a better shipbuilding technology in ancient and medieval times. या फिर, the rulers of southern India always patronized traders, Brahmin priests and Buddhist monks. क्या explanations है?
यहाँ, C, option, monsoon winds across the Bay of Bengal facilitated sea voyages, भी है जो काफी crucial था उन दिनों के maritime trade को support करने में.
So, correct answer यहाँ, D, है, which means both statements, A and B, are convincing explanations.
Moving on to Jain philosophy से related question. The world is created and maintained by? Options में universal law, truth, faith और soul है.
इसका correct answer है, A, universal law, क्योंकि जैन philosophy में सब कुछ universal laws से governed है.
अगला question है regarding the Indus Valley civilization. क्या ये predominantly secular civilization थी या cotton textiles के manufacturing के लिए famous थी?
Correct statement, C, which means both 1 and 2 are correct. Indus Valley एक secular society थी और cotton भी उस किया जाता था.
A flat, धर्म और रीटा की बात करते हैं. क्या ये obligations और moral law के context में थे?
Definitely Ananya. Correct answer is C, both 1 and 2, क्योंकि ये दोनों वैदिक civilization के core ideologies थे.
चलिए, कुछ scientific progress देखते हैं ancient India में. Specialized surgical tools, internal organ transplant, sign of an angle और cyclic quadrilateral concepts.
वाहन, science के लिए exciting era था. Answer is C, which means options 1, 3, and 4 only are correct.
Next, Buddhism और Jainism के बारे में क्या common था? Extremities को avoid करना, वेदास के authority को नकारना?
इस सवाल का करेक्ट आंसर B, 2 and 3 only, क्योंकि दोनों ट्रेडिशंस वेदास के प्रमाण को नहीं मानते थी और रिचुअल्स का विरोध करते थे.
Going forward, नागरा, द्रविड़, वेसरा किन चीजों को रेफर करते हैं?
इजी हो गया अनन्या। यह 3 स्टाइल्स हैं इंडियन टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर के। सो आंसर इज सी।
लॉर्ड बुद्धा के भूमिस्पर्शा मुद्रा को कैसे एक्सप्लेन करोगे?
इसका अमेजिंग सिंबलिज्म है। इट्स ऑप्शन बी, बुद्धा कॉलिंग द अर्थ टू विटनेस हिज प्योरिटी ड्यूरिंग मारा's टेम्पटेशन।
और अर्ली वैदिक आयंस के रिलीजन कैसे था?
नेचर वर्शिप और यज्ञास का कॉम्बो था, सो करेक्ट आंसर इज सी।
लास्टली, एंशंट इंडिया के गिल्ड्स या श्रेणी पर क्वेश्चंस।
ये श्रेणीज इकोनॉमी में क्रूशियल रोल प्ले करती थी और सही स्टेटमेंट इसीलिए ट्रू है इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर इकोनॉमिक कंट्रीब्यूशन।
वेल, इसी के साथ हमने आज का डिस्कशन खत्म कर दिया। ये क्वेश्चन सिर्फ फैक्ट्स नहीं, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग को भी इंस्पायर करते हैं।
Keep evaluating, and as always, remember that knowledge is power. Meet you in the next episode.
अलविदा, keep learning, keep growing. Welcome back, young UPSC warriors. आज हम काफी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक्स डिस्कस करने वाले हैं जो प्रीवियस ईयर के पेपर्स में आए हैं। So, let's dive straight into our first question about the ancient guilds. Harsh, could you start us off?
बिल्कुल, समय। तो सवाल यह है कि एंशिएंट गिल्ड्स के बारे में जो स्टेटमेंट्स दिए गए हैं, उनमें से कौन से सही है? पहली स्टेटमेंट कहती है, एवरी गिल्ड वॉज रजिस्टर्ड विद द सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टेट एंड द किंग वॉज द चीफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटी ऑन देम।
हाँ, हाश, अगर हम हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट देखें, तो ये थोड़ा डाउटफुल लगता है, क्योंकि इतने सेंट्रलाइज्ड स्ट्रक्चर्स हर जगह नहीं होते थे। गिल्ड्स काफी इंडिपेंडेंट होते थे और उनकी अपनी अथॉरिटी होती थी इन मेनी केसेस।
एग्जैक्टली, तो पहली स्टेटमेंट तो क्वेश्चनेबल है। चलो अगली स्टेटमेंट देखते हैं। द वेजेस, रूल्स ऑफ वर्क, स्टैंडर्ड्स एंड प्राइसेस वर फिक्स्ड बाय द गिल्ड।
इस पॉइंट पे तो एविडेंस स्ट्रांग है। गिल्ड्स काफी ऑटोनॉमी होल्ड करते थे अपने इंटरनल मैटर्स में, जैसे कि वेजेस और स्टैंडर्ड्स। यह स्टेटमेंट काफी हद तक सही है।
आई अग्री, हाश। और तीसरी स्टेटमेंट भी देखते हैं, द गिल्ड हैड जुडिशियल पावर्स ओवर इट्स ओन मेंबर्स। ये भी सही लग रहा है, बिकॉज गिल्ड्स अपने मेंबर्स के डिस्प्यूट्स रिजॉल्व करने के लिए अदालत की तरह भी काम करते थे।
तो इस डिस्कशन से समझ आता है कि स्टेटमेंट 2 और 3 सही हैं। तो जवाब होगा सी, 2 और 3 ओनली।
परफेक्ट। चलो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे चलते हैं। बुद्धिस्ट रॉक कट केव्स में चैत्यास और विहारस के बीच क्या फर्क है?
ग्रेट क्वेश्चन, हाश। चैत्यास और विहारस में काफी बेसिक डिफरेंस है। चैत्यास टेम्पल्स हैं, जहां रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस होती थी, स्पेशली स्तूपा वर्शिप। ये केव्स के अंदर लार्ज हॉल्स जैसी लगती हैं, जिसमें स्तूप एक सेंट्रल पोजीशन पे होता है।
बिल्कुल सही अनन्या। और विहारस क्या होती थी?
विहारस बेसिकली रेजिडेंशियल प्लेसेस थी फॉर मंक्स। ये लिविंग क्वार्टर्स प्रोवाइड करते द मंक्स के लिए, एंड वर मोर लाइक मोनास्टिक कॉम्प्लेक्स विद स्मॉल रूम्स सराउंडिंग अ कोर्टयार्ड।
तो समराइज करते हुए, चैत्यास वर मोर अबाउट वर्शिप, while विहारस फोकस्ड ऑन लिविंग एंड लर्निंग स्पेसेस फॉर मंक्स।
एग्जैक्टली, हाश। आई होप ये इंसाइट्स आप सबके कॉन्सेप्ट्स को क्लियर करने में मदद करेंगे। कीप रिवाइजिंग एंड कीप लर्निंग, माय फ्रेंड्स।
And remember, clarity and understanding of these concepts will give you a solid edge in the exam. All the best, everyone.
वेलकम बैक, फ्रेंड्स। आज हम लोग फिर से कुछ यूपीएससी के इंट्रीगिंग मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करने वाले हैं। मजा आने वाला है, क्योंकि हम सिर्फ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, उनके कॉन्सेप्ट्स को भी समझेंगे। लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड।
बिल्कुल, समय। पहला क्वेश्चन जो हमें देखना है, वो है विहारा और चैत्य के रोल्स के बारे में। क्वेश्चन कुछ ऐसा है, विहारा इज द प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप, while chatyar is the dwelling place of the monks. Is that true? Options है, A. Vihara is a place of worship, while chatyar is the dwelling place of the monks. B. Chatyar is a place of worship, while Vihara is the dwelling place of the monks. C. Chatyar is the stupa at the far end of the cave, while Vihara is the hall axial to it. Or D. There is no material difference between the two.
ये बहुत हाई इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है। एक्चुअली, जो करेक्ट आंसर है, वो है ऑप्शन बी। Chatyar is a place of worship, while Vihara is the dwelling place of the monks. हिस्टोरिकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, चाट्य गृह एक प्रेयर हॉल होता था, जहां स्तूप भी होती थी, और विहारा वो जगह थी जहां मंक्स रहते थे।
एग्जैक्टली, चैत्य का कॉन्सेप्ट बुद्धिस्ट आर्किटेक्चर में बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट रहा है। मेडिटेशन और वर्शिप के लिए उस होता था, और विहारा जैसे कि अनन्या ने एक्सप्लेन किया लिविंग स्पेस था। लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन।
श्योर, अगला क्वेश्चन है संख्या स्कूल से रिलेटेड। स्टेटमेंट 1 कहती है दैट संख्या डज नॉट एक्सेप्ट द थियरी ऑफ रीबर्थ और ट्रांसमाइग्रेशन ऑफ सोल। स्टेटमेंट 2 कहती है संख्या होल्ड्स दैट इट इज द सेल्फ नॉलेज दैट लीड्स टू लिबरेशन एंड नॉट एनी एक्सटीरियर इन्फ्लुएंस और एजेंट। तो हमें बताना है कौन सा स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है। ऑप्शंस है अ 1 ओनली, बी 2 ओनली, सी बोथ 1 and 2, डी नाइदर 1 nor 2।
यहाँ थोड़ा केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा। संख्या फिलॉसफी में रीबर्थ का कॉन्सेप्ट एक्सेप्ट किया जाता है, तो स्टेटमेंट 1 इनकरेक्ट हो जाती है। स्टेटमेंट 2 एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट है। सो द राइट आंसर इज बी 2 ओनली। सेल्फ नॉलेज इज इंडीड द पाथवे टू लिबरेशन अकॉर्डिंग टू संख्या।
वेरी वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड, अनन्या। संख्या की बात करें तो ये ड्यूअलिस्टिक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट है जहां प्रकृति और पुरुषा का सेपरेशन समझा जाता है। लिबरेशन नॉलेज के थ्रू पॉसिबल है, एक्सटीरियर एजेंट्स नहीं।
ग्रेट, ए फ्लैट चलते हैं तीसरे क्वेश्चन की तरफ। क्वेश्चन है विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग डिस्क्राइब्स बेस्ट द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ निर्वाणा इन बुद्धिज्म।
निर्वाणा बुद्धिज्म में अल्टीमेट स्टेट ऑफ लिबरेशन और फ्रीडम फ्रॉम द साइकिल ऑफ बर्थ एंड रीबर्थ है। ये वो स्टेट है जहां डिजायर, इग्नोरेंस और सफरिंग खत्म हो जाते हैं। इट्स अ प्रोफाउंड कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल एनलाइटनमेंट एंड इनर पीस।
पूरा जवाब दिया अनन्या, एकदम सही। निर्वाणा इज मोर अबाउट द सेसेशन ऑफ सफरिंग रादर देन अ प्लेस और अ स्टेट ऑफ हेवनली ब्लिस। दिस इज एसेंशियल फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग बुद्धिस्ट फिलॉसफी।
हमने आज बहुत कुछ सीखा। इन क्वेश्चन से हमारा कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग कैसे बनती है वो समझा। ये यूपीएससी जर्नी में बहुत हेल्प करेगा।
इंडीड, हाश और एस्पिरेंट्स, याद रहे कि क्वेश्चंस सिर्फ रोते लर्निंग नहीं बल्कि डीपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग के साथ सॉल्व करना बहुत जरूरी है।
बिल्कुल सही कहा अनन्या। लेट्स कीप दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन गोइंग। हम फिर मिलेंगे नए क्वेश्चंस और नए इंसाइट्स के साथ। अंटिल देन, कीप डिगिंग डीप एंड स्टे क्यूरियस। ऑलराइट फोक्स, वेलकम बैक। आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे कुछ यूपीएससी के प्रीवियस ईयर के MCQs जो कि एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए काफी क्रूशियल होती हैं। हाश, रेडी टू डाइव इन?
बिल्कुल समय। यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन में ये क्वेश्चंस एनालाइज करना बहुत जरूरी है। लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन। व्हाट कैरेक्टराइजेस पीपल ऑफ द इंडस सिविलाइजेशन? We have statements they possessed great palaces and temples, they worshipped both male and female deities, and they employed horse-drawn chariots in warfare.
ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा ट्रिकी लगता है। Let's break it down. We know कि Indus Valley civilization was known for its urban planning and sophisticated city structures, लेकिन उन्हें पैलेसेस या टेम्पल्स के लिए नहीं जाना जाता।
Exactly, Ananya. They had public baths, like the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, but no evidence of grand palaces or temples. This rules out statement 1.
बिल्कुल सही। और अगर वर्शिप की बात करें, they did worship both male and female deities, as evident from various figurines found at sites.
Right. So statement 2 seems correct. Horse-drawn chariots, however, aren't associated with Indus Valley civilization. उनका उस बाद में आर्यंस के टाइम पे ज्यादा था।
Yes, so statement 3 is incorrect. Hence, the correct answer is option B, 2 only.
अगला सवाल जैन डॉक्ट्रीन के बारे में है। ये ध्यान देने वाली बात है कि जैनिज्म emphasizes on non-violence and the concept of अनेकांतवाद, which means multiple perspectives.
हाँ, जैनिज्म का कोर डॉक्ट्रीन हाई नॉन वायलेंस और ट्रूथफुलनेस है। और जैन फिलॉसफी के हिसाब से सोल और कर्म का रिलेशनशिप भी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है।
Absolutely, Jain doctrine focuses a lot on ethical purity and spiritual liberation. There's also a strong emphasis on 5 vows, ahimsa, satya, asteya, aparigrah, and brahmacharya.
राइट समय और इससे रेलेवेंट स्टेटमेंट्स को समझना यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है। इन क्वेश्चंस लाइक दीज, अंडरस्टैंडिंग द फिलोसॉफिकल डेप्थ हेल्प्स।
To wrap it up, aspirants should focus on understanding not just the facts but also the context in which these civilizations and doctrines evolved. यह comprehension high आपको edge देगी in tricky question areas.
Great insights, Ananya and Harsh. I hope listeners will take these tips seriously and incorporate them into their study routines. Let's meet next time with some more intriguing UPSC questions. Hey Harsh, Ananya, today we are diving into some intriguing past UPSC questions. Let's start with the first one about the philosophy of karma. The options are
1. The surest way of annihilating karma is to practice penance. 2. Every object, even the smallest particle, has a soul. 3. Karma is the bane of the soul and must be ended. A. 1 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, D. 1, 2 and 3. What are your thoughts?
देखो समय, यह क्वेश्चन जैन फिलॉसफी से जुड़ा हुआ है. Jainism believes in the existence of soul in every object, even in the tiniest particles, which directly points to statement 2. और statement 3 भी सही है since karma is considered a burden on the soul that prevents liberation.
Right, Harsh. और statement 1 भी consider करते हैं. Penance is indeed a way to annihilate karma, especially in Jain beliefs. So, जब हम तीनों statements को देखते हैं, they all seem to align with Jain doctrines. Hence, the correct answer should be D, 1, 2 and 3.
perfect. Moving on to the next question about Indian rock cut architecture. Here are the statements.
1. The caves at Badami are the oldest surviving rock-cut caves in India. 2. The Barabar rock-cut caves were originally made for Ajivikas by Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. 3. At Ellora, caves were made for different faiths. A. 1 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 3 only, D. 1, 2 and 3. Any insights here?
हाँ समय, Badami caves are significant but they're not the oldest. The Barabar caves, made during Ashoka's reign for Ajivikas, are indeed older. So statement 1 is incorrect.
Exactly, and for statement 3, Ellora caves are famous for being multi-faith. They include Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain caves. So, statements 2 and 3 are correct.
Rightly said, the answer is B, 2 and 3 only. आप चलते हैं युआन क्वांग और हायन सांग के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में. Although we don't have the options here, what can we say about his observations?
Haiyan Sang was a Chinese traveler who visited India in the 7th century. उन्होंने बहुत सारी चीजें नोट की थी, like the flourishing of Buddhism, educational centers like Nalanda, and the cultural diversity in India during Harsha's reign.
Yes, his accounts are invaluable for understanding the socio-economic and cultural fabric of that time. He also mentioned the prosperity in certain regions and the decline in Buddhist practices in some areas.
Absolutely fascinating. Hayan Sang's records provide a glimpse into ancient India's vibrant past. Thanks, Harsh and Ananya. Hopefully, this discussion will help all those prepping for the UPSC exam. Keep exploring and questioning, everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are dissecting some classic UPSC-style questions from the 2013 prelims, and it's going to be really insightful. Let's jump right into it. We've got a question about ancient Indian transportation and trade practices. Check it out.
Question 1 is about ancient roads and river routes, punishment methods, and trade duties. We are to select the correct statements using the codes given below. 1. The roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. 2. As regards punishment for offences, ordeals by fire, water, and poison were the instruments for determining the innocence or guilt of a person. 3. The tradesmen had to pay duties at ferries and barrier stations.
ये बड़ा हाई इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल है. Let's break it down line by line. सबसे पहला statement, the roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. I think this portrays an idealized view. Ancient India में robbery हो सकती थी, especially considering the vast trade routes and territorial expanses.
Exactly, Harsh. तो पहला statement doubtful है. Coming to the second statement, ordeals as a form of trial did exist in ancient India. Fire and water tests काफी effective माने जाते the tab.
Right. And coming to the third statement, duties at ferries and barrier stations were pretty common. Customs duties have been a part of trade systems for centuries.
तो अगर हम सब कुछ देखते हैं, second और third statement सही है. This makes option B, 2 and 3 only the right answer.
Moving on to a different kind of cultural inquiry, we have the next question about a dance pose, Tribhanga. Samay, could you explain it a bit?
Sure, Ananya. Tribhanga is a classic and beautiful pose in Indian dance forms like Odissi, where the body bends at 3 points, neck, torso, and knee, creating a graceful S curve. It symbolizes flexibility and grace.
और क्या आप दोनों ने नोटिस किया कि त्रिभंगा का विजुअलाइजेशन नॉट जस्ट इन डांस बट ऑल्सो इन स्कल्पचर्स लाइक दोज इन खजुराहो की आर्ट में काफी प्रेवलेंट है?
Absolutely. It's fascinating how such poses have transcended time, forming a crucial part of Indian artistic heritage from ancient times to today.
So, friends, that's a deep dive into one object of question in an interesting cultural concept. Ancient history and art not only provide insight into past societies but also reflect continuity into modern times.
Exactly, Samay. I hope this discussion sparks curiosity in our listeners to explore more. यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में ऐसे कॉन्सेप्ट समझ के जाना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है.
बिल्कुल सही. So listeners, keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll be back with more insights. Until then, happy studying.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to our discussion on UPSC Civil Services Preparation. आज हम कुछ मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करने वाले हैं जो पास्ट ईयर पेपर्स में आए हैं. Let's sharpen our analytical skills together. So, without further ado, let's dive in.
Absolutely, Samay. पहला क्वेश्चन है डांस फॉर्म से रिलेटेड. Options read as follows.
A. One leg is bent and the body is slightly but oppositely curved at waist and neck. B. Facial expressions, hand gestures and makeup are combined to symbolize certain epic or historic characters. C. Movements of body, face and hands are used to express oneself or to tell a story. D. A little smile, slightly curved waist and certain hand gestures are emphasized to express the feelings of love or eroticism.
Interesting question. समय, आपको क्या लगता है किस डांस फॉर्म के लिए ये डिस्क्रिप्शन अप्लाई होता है?
I believe option D might be referring to the classical Indian dance form of Bharatanatyam. It emphasizes a little smile, a slightly curved waist and specific hand gestures, often to express emotions like love or eroticism.
Right, यह क्वेश्चन डांस काफी डिटेल में जाता है और यूपीएससी इसी तरीके से कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी टेस्ट करता है. लेट्स मूव टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन.
Sure. तो अगला सवाल हिस्टोरिक प्लेसेस से रिलेटेड है. कंसिडर द प्लेसेस.
1. Ajanta Caves. 2. Lepakshi Temple. 3. Sanchi Stupa. Which of these places is known for mural paintings?
Ajanta Caves is famously known for its mural paintings. So, answer would be option A, 1 only.
बिल्कुल सही, अनन्या. Ajanta caves are indeed renowned for their intricate and ancient mural paintings. Moving on to the next question related to sculptures.
Famous work of sculpture. 1. A grand image of Buddha's Mahaparinirvana with numerous celestial musicians above and the sorrowful figures of his followers below. 2. A huge image of Varaha avatar of Vishnu, as he rescues goddess Earth from the deep and chaotic waters, sculpted on rock. 3. Arjuna's penance, descent of Ganga, sculpted on the surface of huge boulders.
ये इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है, हाश. इसमें अजंता के पेयर्ड विद महापरिनिर्वाणा स्कल्पचर काफी सही लग रहा है. Varaha avatar is found in Udayagiri caves, not Mount Abu. But the third pair is Mamallapuram, which matches Arjuna's penance.
Right, so the correct pairs would be option B, 3 only. The third pair is correctly matched.
Great, let's explore the last question related to the Buddhist shrines.
Famous shrine location. 1. Tabo Monastery and Temple Complex, Spiti Valley. 2. Lotsava Lakhang Temple, Nako, Zanskar Valley. 3. Alchi Temple Complex, Ladakh.
Tabo Monastery is definitely in Spiti Valley. And Alchi Temple is in Ladakh. So, the correct answer would be option C, land 3 only.
Correct, and these kinds of geography-based questions are tricky yet important for the UPSC exams. Finally, moving on to the last part about Indian philosophy. Among the 6 systems of Indian philosophy, the pairs usually include Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, and Vedanta.
Right. So if any pair does not fit in these, it's not part of the 6 systems.
Thank you, guys. I think these discussions really help in understanding the depth and scope of questions asked in UPSC Civil Services.
Indeed, Ananya, और इसी तरह हम डिस्कस करते रहेंगे. मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में, तब तक के लिए, happy studying. Hey Harsh and Ananya, I've got some interesting UPSC questions lined up for us today. Let's jump straight into it, shall we?
Absolutely, Samay. Let's dive in. What's the first question?
Okay, here's a challenging one. It's about ancient Indian schools of philosophy. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? We've got options: Memamsa and Vedanta, Nyaya and Vaisheshika, Lokayata and Kapalika, Sankhya and Yoga.
That's an intriguing question. Well, Memamsa and Vedanta, as well as Nyaya and Vaisheshika, are definitely correctly matched. Both belong to the Astika category of Indian philosophy, meaning they accept the authority of the Vedas. Sankhya and Yoga are also closely related as Sankhya provides the theoretical basis and Yoga offers the practical discipline.
Uske hisab se, the odd pair here would be Lokayata and Kapalika. Lokayata, or Charvaka, is a materialistic and skeptical school of thought which is Nastika, meaning it does not accept the Vedas. Kapalika, on the other hand, is related to Shivism, focused more on tantric practices. They're not exactly philosophical companions like the others.
Spot on, Harsh. So, the incorrect pairing is option C, Lokayata and Kapalika.
Great start. Now let's move on to something patriotic. The national motto of India, Satyamev Jayate, inscribed below the emblem of India, is taken from which Upanishad? Here are the options: Katha Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Aitreya Upanishad, and Mundaka Upanishad.
Oh, I remember this one. It's a popular question. The phrase, Satyamev Jayate, is taken from the Mundaka Upanishad, symbolizing the eternal triumph of truth. It's such a profound message for our nation.
Exactly, Harsh. The Mundaka Upanishad is where it originates, and it imbues the emblem with a deep philosophical meaning, reminding us that truth must prevail.
Absolutely, Satyamev Jayate is not just a phrase but a guiding principle for all of us. Alright, moving on. The last question for today is, which of the following kingdoms were associated with the life of the Buddha?
That's a fascinating one too. Buddha's life is intertwined with several ancient Indian kingdoms.
Right, primarily we remember the Shakya kingdom, as Buddha, originally Siddhartha Gautam, was born a prince there. Also significant is the Magadha kingdom where he attained enlightenment and eventually spread his teachings.
Don't forget the kingdom of Koshala, where he spent much of his time preaching. And of course, the Malla kingdom is essential as well, because that's where he attained Mahaparinirvana.
True, the life of Buddha didn't just impact these kingdoms but also shaped the cultural and spiritual landscape of the entire subcontinent. So, these are key kingdoms associated with his life: Shakya, Magadha, Koshala, and Malla.
Precisely, Buddha's journey was almost a magical map of ancient India's spiritual and cultural hotspots.
And with that, we've wrapped up this intriguing session. Keep these facts in mind, as they are both historical and philosophical treasures.
Thanks, Harsh and Ananya. This was a wonderful discussion. Until next time, remember to weave these insights into your larger understanding of Indian heritage. Take care everyone. Hey Harsh, Ananya, UPSC aspirants, आज हम कुछ interesting and thought-provoking multiple choice questions discuss करने वाले हैं. Let's dive right in.
Absolutely. Let's begin with our first question related to different ancient kingdoms: Avanti, Gandhara, Koshala, and Magadha. The question asks us to select the correct codes from the given options. So, the question is focused on connecting these ancient regions with their historical significance.
Right, तो options में clarity चाहिए. Avanti, Gandhara, Koshala, and Magadha were all significant kingdoms in ancient India. But the true task is in seeing which sets can logically be grouped together based on their timelines and importance.
In my opinion, Magadha and Koshala had intense historical prominence, especially during the time of the Buddha and the Maurya dynasty. So, for the question given, the right answer would be C, 3 and 4 only, meaning Koshala and Magadha.
Exactly, Samay. Now, let's move to our next question about art and archaeological history. It's asking which among the given options was made the earliest.
Yes, options हैं Lingaraj Temple, rock-cut elephant at Dholi, rock-cut monuments at Mahabalipuram, and Varaha image at Udayagiri. If we look carefully at the timelines, Dholi ka elephant is one of Ashoka's early works, post-Kalinga War. So, in this case, the answer is B, rock-cut elephant at Dholi.
Bilkul, Ashoka's works were indeed foundational in Indian art history. Moving to the love stories of ancient India, there's a question about which book among the given choices contains the story of the son of the founder of the Sunga dynasty.
The correct answer is B, Malavikagnimitra. It's a play by Kalidasa about King Agnimitra, who was indeed the son of the founder of the Sunga dynasty, Pushyamitra Sunga.
Huh, it's fascinating how literature paints vivid pictures of historical contexts. Next, let's discuss the question on historical terms, like Eripitti, Tanias, and Ghatikas. Which combinations are correct?
For this, option D, land 3 is accurate, because Eripitti does refer to land revenue linked with village tanks and Ghatikas were indeed ancient colleges attached to temples. Tanias isn't correctly matched as mentioned.
Great point, Harsh. Now, a question on religious history asks about Sautratika and Sammitya sects. Many might confuse these with Jainism, but they are actually branches of Buddhism.
Exactly, statement 2 is also correct, where Sarvastivadin believed in the latent existence of phenomena. Hence, the answer is B, 2 only.
Let's not forget art history. Among the most famous paintings is the Bodhisattva Padmapani depicted at Ajanta. It's a glorious example of ancient Indian artistry. So, the correct option is A, Ajanta.
Finally, let's quickly touch on sun temples. Out of Arasavalli, Amarkantak, and Omkareshwar, the right choice would be A, 1 only, because Arasavalli is notably famous for its sun temple.
And before we wrap up, a comparative question about Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley people. It's important to be precise about their cultural differences, something not asked in our list, but worth noting for aspirants.
To summarize, each question serves as a small reminder of the depth and diversity of India's historical and cultural past. Aspirants, these examples could guide your preparation. Keep exploring every detail.
Absolutely. Stay curious, keep learning, and remember, the journey of UPSC preparation is as enriching as the destination. Good luck, everyone. Welcome back, friends. आज हम कुछ interesting UPSC previous year questions discuss करने वाले हैं. Let's start with a question on Rigvedic Aryans and Indus Valley civilization.
यह क्वेश्चन बड़ा इंट्रीगिंग है. स्टेटमेंट 1 कहता है कि ऋग्वेदिक आयंस ने मेल कोट्स और हेलमेट्स का उस किया था वॉरफेयर में, whereas इंडस वैली के लोगों के पास ऐसा कोई एविडेंस नहीं है.
Exactly. और अगर हम historical evidence देखें, तो it is true that Rigvedic Aryans were familiar with such warfare gear, unlike the Indus Valley civilization.
बिल्कुल सही. तो मतलब, स्टेटमेंट 1 इज करेक्ट. आगे बढ़ते हैं. स्टेटमेंट 2 में कहा गया है कि ऋग्वेदिक आयंस को गोल्ड, सिल्वर और कॉपर का ज्ञान था, बट इंडस वैली के लोग सिर्फ कॉपर और आयन जानते थे.
यहाँ पे दिक्कत है. एक्चुअली, इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन में गोल्ड एंड कॉपर दोनों का एविडेंस मिला है, मगर आयन का कोई एविडेंस नहीं है. आयन तो बाद में उस हुआ था.
Well spotted, Harsh. So statement 2 is incorrect because Indus Valley people did not know about iron.
Awesome. स्टेटमेंट 3 देखें तो ऋग्वेदिक आयंस ने हॉर्सेस को डोमेस्टिकेट किया था, बट इंडस वैली में हॉर्स का कोई एविडेंस नहीं मिला.
करेक्ट, समय. यह एविडेंस हमें ऋग्वेदिक टेक्स्ट से मिलता है, और इंडस वैली में हॉर्स के पास या नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट एविडेंस है.
Right. So, statement 3 is also correct. अगर आंसर्स को देखें, तो करेक्ट कॉम्बिनेशन स्टेटमेंट 1 and 3 का है.
तो करेक्ट आंसर हो गया ऑप्शन सी, 1 and 3 ओनली.
ग्रेट. अगला क्वेश्चन देखें. ये पूछ रहा है कि ककाटिया किंगडम में एक इम्पोर्टेंट सीपोर्ट कौन सा था.
ये तो काफी डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन है. ककाटिया किंगडम का फेमस सीपोर्ट था मोटुपाली.
सही जवाब, अनन्या. मोटुपाली was indeed a crucial port during the Kakatiya period और trade point भी.
परफेक्ट. आज के लिए इतना ही. ये डिस्कशन जरूर यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स के कॉन्सेप्ट क्लैरिटी में मदद करेगा.
हाँ, और ऐसे टफ क्वेश्चंस को डिस्कस करके कॉन्फिडेंस भी बढ़ता है. ऑल द बेस्ट टू ऑल एस्पिरेंट्स.
Alright, friends, keep learning and stay curious. मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट एपिसोड में with more interesting discussions. Bye. Welcome back, listeners. आज हम यूपीएससी के कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे. आज के क्वेश्चंस थोड़े पुराने हैं, बट जैसे कहते हैं, ओल्ड इज गोल्ड. राइट, हाश?
बिल्कुल समय. और यहाँ पे नए तरीके से इन्हें समझने का फायदा ये है कि हमारा बेस स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं पहला क्वेश्चन से.
पहला सवाल लेते हैं 1995 से. अकॉर्डिंग टू द मीमांसा सिस्टम ऑफ फिलोसफी, लिबरेशन इज पॉसिबल बाय मीन्स ऑफ व्हाट? ऑप्शंस हैं ए, JNANA, बी, भक्ति, C. योगा, D. कर्मा।
ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है। मीमांसा दर्शन का फोकस ज्यादातर कर्म पर होता है। इस स्कूल ऑफ थॉट के अनुसार धार्मिक कर्मों से मुक्ति मिलती है।
हाँ, एग्जैक्टली। मीमांसा का कहना है कि यज्ञ और वैदिक रिचुअल्स और कर्म का पालन करने से ही आप लिबरेशन यानी मोक्ष पा सकते हैं। सो आंसर इज डी, कर्मा।
एब्सोल्युटली राइट। चलते हैं अगले क्वेश्चन पर। क्वेश्चन है, ब्रॉन्ज आइकन्स ऑफ नटराज कास्ट ड्यूरिंग द चोला पीरियड इनवेरिएबली शो द डेटी विथ हाउ मेनी हैंड्स? ऑप्शंस हैं अ 8 हैंड्स, बी 6 हैंड्स, सी 4 हैंड्स, डी 2 हैंड्स।
चोला पीरियड के ब्रॉन्ज आइकन्स ऑफ नटराज काफी फेमस हैं। इन स्कल्पचर्स में नटराज को 4 हाथों के साथ दिखाया गया है।
करेक्ट समय। The typical Chola bronzes represent Nataraj in a cosmic dance form with 4 hands, symbolizing the cycle of creation and destruction.
बिल्कुल सही जवाब है। अगला क्वेश्चन में मैच लिस्ट करनी है। ये है मैच लिस्ट आई विथ लिस्ट 2, विशाखादत्ता, वराहमिहिर, चरका, ब्रह्मगुप्ता से कनेक्ट करे 1, मेडिसिन 2, ड्रामा 3, एस्ट्रोनॉमी 4, मैथमेटिक्स 2। करेक्ट कोड्स क्या होंगे?
इसका आंसर थोड़ा ट्रिकी है, लेकिन अगर आप क्लासिकल लिटरेचर और साइंसेस के स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो ये आसान हो सकता है। विशाखादत्ता ने ड्रामा लिखा था, वराहमिहिर वॉज एन एस्ट्रोनॉमर, चरका वॉज अ पायनियर इन मेडिसिन और ब्रह्मगुप्त मैथमेटिक्स के लिए जाने जाते हैं। सो द आंसर इज सी, A2, B3, C1, D4।
हाँ, यही सही जवाब है। और स्टूडेंट्स को ये याद रखना चाहिए कि ये स्कॉलर्स अपने अपने फील्ड्स में कितने इन्फ्लुएंशियल थे।
परफेक्ट। और अब हमारा आखिरी क्वेश्चन, विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग टेक्स्ट्स ऑफ एंशिएंट इंडिया अलाउज डिवोर्स टू अ वाइफ डिजर्टेड बाय हर हस्बैंड?
यह क्वेश्चन अलग समय की सोशल नॉर्म्स को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है। मेरा कहना है कि नारद स्मृति इज वन ऑफ दोज टेक्स्ट्स व्हिच अलाउज सच प्रोविजंस फॉर अ डिजर्टेड वाइफ।
हाँ, और ये देखने में मिलता है नारद स्मृति के स्पेसिफिक क्लॉजेस में, जहां अलग अलग सोशल कंडीशंस को समझा गया है और उसके अकॉर्डिंग प्रोविजंस भी दिए गए हैं।
बहुत ही बढ़िया टीम। आई होप लिसनर्स, आपने इन डिस्कशंस से कुछ वैल्यूएबल इंसाइट्स लिए होंगे। रिमेंबर, इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट गेटिंग द राइट आंसर बट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू। आज के लिए इतना ही। मिलते हैं अगले सेशन में कुछ और इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशंस के साथ।
Alright guys, let's dive into today's session. We've got a fascinating set of UPSC style questions to discuss. पहली क्वेश्चन है, कौन सा एक हड़प्पन साइट नहीं है? ऑप्शंस are चनुदारो, सोहागोरा, कोट डीजी एंड डेसालपुर।
This is a classic UPSC question where observational skills and historical knowledge come in handy. So, Chenudaro, Kote DG, and Desalpur are recognized Harappan sites. Sohagora, on the other hand, is not a Harappan site but is known for its inscriptions related to the Maurya period.
Exactly, Sohagora is famous for possibly having one of the earliest references to famine relief efforts in India. So young aspirants, Sohagora is your answer here.
Moving on, let's talk about religious practices. The question is about the Sthanavasi sect. Options are Buddhism, Jainism, Vaishnavism, and Shivism.
The Sthanavasi sect is quite an interesting part of Jainism. This sect emerged in the 17th century and is known for rejecting the practice of idol worship which is prevalent in many other sects of Jainism.
Yes, Harsh. UPSC often likes to test on these nuances. So the answer is Jainism.
Alright, next up is a question on future Buddha. Options हैं अवलोकितेश्वर, लोकेश्वरा, मैत्रेय एंड पद्मापनि।
ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा मिथोलॉजिकल हिस्ट्री से जुदा हुआ है। According to Buddhist belief, Maitreya is the future Buddha expected to come to this world.
True, Avalokiteshwar and Padmapani are manifestations of compassion, but Maitreya is the correct answer for the future Buddha.
Great insights. Now, pairs के regarding next question लेते हैं, that match crafts in their states. हमारे पास हैं पुथुकुली शॉल्स, तमिलनाडु, सूजनी एम्ब्रॉयडरी, महाराष्ट्र, उपपड़ा जमदानी साड़ीज, कर्नाटका।
This question is all about geographic and cultural knowledge. Puthukuli shawls होते हैं तमिलनाडु से, a perfect match. Uppada Jamdani saris actually belong to Andhra Pradesh, not Karnataka. Sujni embroidery is famous in Bihar, not Maharashtra.
Correct, Harsh. So the only correct pair here is 1. The answer is one only.
Next, let's analyze the tradition versus state question. Chapchar Kut, Kongjong Parba, and Thang Ta.
Chapchar Kut festival is indeed from Mizoram, celebrated by the Mizo people marking the arrival of spring. Kongjong Parba is a famous ballad from Manipur narrating the Battle of Kongjong. Thang Ta dance is also from Manipur, not Sikkim.
So based on this, the correct pairs are 1 and 2. Hence, option B, 1 and 2 is correct.
Wonderful discussion, guys. Finally, we have a question regarding a relief sculpture inscription of Renew Ashoka.
ये भी एक unique question है. The Musky Edict in Karnataka is one place where Renew Ashoka is mentioned, along with his stone portrait. It's one of the earliest references to him as a king.
Absolutely, Harsh. Musky is an important site for Ashokan studies and should be remembered for such questions.
These questions highlight the importance of understanding the intricate details of Indian history and culture, which are not just important for UPSC, but also for understanding our heritage. We'll continue with more questions next time. Good luck with your studies. Welcome back, aspirants. Let's dive into an exciting session where we evaluate some intriguing UPSC multiple choice questions, straight from previous year's papers. Today, with me are Harsh and Ananya. How are you both doing?
I'm doing great, Samay. Looking forward to unraveling these questions.
Same here. Let's help our aspirants get a better grip on these topics.
Alright, let's tackle the first question. We have 4 options: Kangnahali, Sanchi, Shahbazgiri, and Sogora. But hold on, we don't have the full question for this one. Let's move on to the next one.
Sure thing. Let's look into the question on Mahayana Buddhism. We've got 3 statements: deification of the Buddha, treading the path of bodhisattvas, and image worship and rituals. And the question asks which of these are features of Mahayana Buddhism.
Mahayana Buddhism is known for its distinct features compared to Theravada Buddhism. Sabse pehli baat, Mahayana Buddhism emphasizes the deification of the Buddha, meaning Buddha is worshipped as a godlike figure. So, statement 1 is definitely correct.
Exactly. And when it comes to bodhisattvas, Mahayana Buddhism allows followers to aspire to become bodhisattvas, who delay their own enlightenment to help others. This makes statement 2 correct as well.
And let's not forget image worship and rituals. This is a significant aspect of Mahayana practices. They engage in elaborate rituals and worship Buddha's images, along with bodhisattvas. So, statement 3 fits right in.
So, combining all these points together, the answer should be option D, 1, 2, and 3. All 3 features aptly describe Mahayana Buddhism.
Absolutely. This question beautifully showcases the differences within branches of Buddhism, which is a pivotal part of world history and culture.
Moving on, we've got a question about forced labor, or Visti, during the Gupta period. The question asks for the correct statement regarding it.
Acha, Visti was actually a form of compulsory labor prevalent during the Gupta period. It was a kind of tax where people had to offer services to the state. This labor was often required without any remuneration.
Precisely. It's important to note that Visti was not just limited to peasants but extended to various sections of society. It was a burden but also a reflection of the socio-economic aspects of that era.
So, if we have to pick the correct statement regarding Visti, it would be that it was indeed a form of forced labor, serving as a kind of tax imposed on people during that time.
Exactly, Samay. It was a significant feature in understanding the administrative and economic conditions under Gupta rule.
And that's why understanding these concepts in depth is crucial for cracking UPSC exams, as they demand a thorough understanding of historical contexts.
Well put, Ananya. That wraps up our discussion for today. I hope our listeners found this session insightful. Until next time, keep studying and keep questioning. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Keep learning and keep challenging yourself.
See you all in the next session. Best of luck with your preparations.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's jump right into our first question related to taxation systems during ancient times. Here's a statement for us to analyze. It was considered a source of income for the state, almost like a tax. What do you guys think it refers to?
That's interesting, Samay. The concept of forced labor, or Visti, often worked this way. It's not exactly taxation in the modern sense, but it functioned as a tax in the form of labor. The correct statement would be option A, though it wasn't identical to direct taxation like today.
Right, and if we move to the second question, about Kalyana Mandapas in temple construction. This feature was prominent in the Vijayanagara Empire, making option D the correct answer. These were marriage halls within temple complexes, emphasizing the architectural richness during that period.
Absolutely, Ananya. The Vijayanagara architecture is renowned for its unique designs, including these mandapas. Now, let's talk about the term paramitas in Indian cultural history. Any thoughts?
Paramitas are essentially perfections in Mahayana Buddhism that guide one on the bodhisattva path. So, the correct answer is C, referring to the spiritual qualities developed on the path to enlightenment.
That's spot on, Harsh. Moving on to the association of scholars, it's crucial to remember who's associated with whom. Kalidasa, the celebrated classical Sanskrit author, is often linked with Chandragupta too. So, the correct choice is option C, statement 3 only.
Good catch there, Ananya. It's easy to confuse these associations. Now, let's discuss Buddhism and its sects. The Lokotravadin sect, indeed, branched off from the Mahasanghikas and supported the deification of Buddha, fostering Mahayana Buddhism. So, the answer is B, 2 and 3 only.
It's fascinating how these sects and their beliefs evolved over time, impacting religious and cultural landscapes substantially. Let's talk about the chronological order of some major events next. We need to arrange these: the rise of Pratiharas under King Bhoja, the establishment of Pallava power under Mahendravarman I, the establishment of Chola Parantika I, and the founding of the Pala dynasty by Gopala.
Okay, let's break this down. The earliest event here is the establishment of Pallava power under Mahendravarman I. Next, we have the rise of the Pala dynasty, then Pratiharas under Bhoja, and finally, the establishment of Chola Parantika I. So the sequence is 2, 4, 1, 3, which means option C is the correct answer.
Great breakdown, Ananya. And finally, let's define hundi from the post-Harsha period. Essentially, a hundi was a financial instrument similar to a bill of exchange, a tool for transferring money or credit. It reflects the advanced trade and commerce systems back then.
It's amazing how such instruments were predecessors to modern banking systems. These discussions bring to light the complexity and richness of India's past, offering a wealth of knowledge for UPSC aspirants.
Agreed, Harsh. Understanding these concepts not only prepares us for exams but also helps us appreciate the depth of our history and its influences on the present. Let's keep exploring these intriguing topics.
Hey Harsh and Ananya, let's dive straight into this set of UPSC history questions. काफी intriguing लग रहे हैं.
Absolutely, Samay. सबसे पहला question है about what the terms Kulyavapa and Dronvapa denote in the history of India. Options हैं A. Measurement of land, B. Coins of different monetary value, C. Classification of urban land, D. Religious rituals.
These terms are actually related to land measurement in ancient India. It's option A. ये terms land measurement में उस होते द, similar to what we have ज़मीन के नाप के लिए अलग-अलग terms आज भी उस करते हैं.
That's right, Harsh. Next question पे चलते हैं. It asks about the ruler who advised through an inscription, whosoever praises his religious sect or blames other sects out of excessive devotion to his own sect, he rather injures his own sect very severely. Options हैं A. Ashoka, B. Samudragupta, C. Harshavardhana, and D. Krishnadeva.
ये तो अशोका की edicts की पुरानी टेक्निक लगती है. He was quite famous for promoting religious tolerance and these kind of inscriptions are in line with his philosophy. So, the answer is A. Ashoka.
Exactly, Ananya. Ashoka was known for his Dhamma and these inscriptions. Moving on, we have a question on famous places and their present states. Pairs दिए गए हैं.
1. Bilsa, Madhya Pradesh. 2. Dwar Samudra, Maharashtra. 3. Girinagar, Gujarat. 4. Sthaneshwara, Uttar Pradesh. Correctly matched pairs कौन सा है?
अगर historical geography को देखें तो भिलसा is indeed in Madhya Pradesh. लेकिन द्वार समुद्र is actually in Karnataka, not Maharashtra. Girinagar is indeed in Gujarat but Staneshwara is in Haryana and not Uttar Pradesh. So, only 1 and 3 are correctly matched.
बिल्कुल सही, समय. It's 1 and 3 only. Now, moving to the next question, which is about the Gupta dynasty period and towns like Ghantasala, Kadura, and Chul.
Yeah, during the Gupta period, these towns were known as ports handling foreign trade. So, the answer is A.
Correct, Harsh. Ports were really the lifeline for trade in ancient times. Let's discuss the next question, regarding cultural history with terms like Parivrajka, Shraman, and Upaska.
Well, Parivrajka refers to a renunciant and wanderer. Shramana was not a priest but more of an ascetic or monk, and Upaska is indeed a lay follower of Buddhism. Hence, the correctly matched pairs are B, 1 and 3 only.
Absolutely, Ananya. Shramana was very key in the rise of Buddhism and Jainism with their emphasis on individual asceticism.
Nice. It's always fascinating to see how elements from the past shape our understanding today. UPSC questions are like puzzles, जो हमें अपने roots को समझने में help करते हैं.
True that, Samay. They are indeed a window to history and culture which makes the study so interesting.
And with that, I guess we've covered a lot today. Let's keep this vibe going next time.
Sure thing. Till then, happy studying to everyone listening. Stay curious and keep delving into the depths of history. Alright folks, welcome back to another insightful episode where we deconstruct some challenging UPSC questions from the past. Harsh, Ananya, ready to dive into these?
Absolutely, Samay. UPSC questions are like an intellectual treasure hunt. Let's crack them one by one.
I'm super excited. So, what's our first question?
Let's start with the question from the 1996 paper. Which of the following texts is associated with the Arthashastra? Your options are A. Kamasutra, B. Manava Dharma Shastra, C. Sukra Nitisra, D. Arthashastra itself.
Yaha clearly the answer is D. Arthashastra itself. Kautilya's Arthashastra is a treatise on statecraft, economic policy, and military strategy.
Right. Kamasutra by Vatsyayana is related to the social and love life of human beings, while Manava Dharma Shastra, also known as Manusmriti, deals with Hindu law and practices.
Great. Moving on, we have the match the list question from 1997. We need to match dynasties with their corresponding architectural sites. The dynasties are Gupta, Chandala, Chalukya, and Pallava. The sites are Badami, Panamalai, Khajuraho, and Deogad.
सोच के देखो, Gupta dynasty is well known for the Deogad temple, so matches with 4. Chandala dynasty is famous for Khajuraho temples, so B matches with 3.
Correct. And Chalukya is known for the Badami cave temples, aligning C with 1. Finally, the Pallava dynasty is associated with Panamalai, which matches D with 2.
Perfect. So the code is A, A4, B3, C1, D2. Well articulated, team. Now, let's tackle the question regarding Ashoka's stone pillars. Which statement is incorrect?
The options were A. Highly polished, B. Monolithic, C. Tapering shaft, and D. Part of architectural structures. I'd say D is incorrect. Ashoka's pillars are standalone structures, not parts of larger buildings.
Exactly, Harsh. The pillars were meant to be visible reminders of Ashoka's edicts, standing in isolation rather than being part of architectural complexes.
Awesome analysis, guys. Finally, let's discuss which ancient script of India was written from right to left.
The answer is Kharosthi script. It was used in the northwestern regions of India and is unique because of its right to left direction, unlike other Indian scripts.
And just to add, the Kharosthi script was heavily influenced by the Aramaic script due to historical exchanges.
Well done, team. That's another set of questions decoded effectively. I hope our audience found this discussion enriching and enlightening. Until next time, continue your deep dive into the ocean of knowledge, future civil servants. आज हम कुछ interesting multiple choice questions देखेंगे जो UPSC एग्जाम से लिए गए हैं. Let's start with the first question. Identify the script used in ancient inscriptions. Options are A. Brahmi, B. Nandnagari, C. Sharada, D. Kharosthi.
बहुत हाई इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है. Generally, हम सब जानते हैं कि most of the ancient inscriptions, especially the Mauryan period की, they are found in Brahmi script. So, I would go with option A, Brahmi.
Exactly, Harsh. Brahmi script played a crucial role in the spread of literacy and documentation in ancient India. यह स्क्रिप्ट एम्परर अशोका के टाइम पे प्रोमिनेंटली यूज होती थी, इसलिए करेक्ट आंसर इज इंडीड ब्राह्मी.
Great. Moving on to the next question about the famous dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama. Options are A. Chandogyopanishad, B. Mundkopnishad, C. Kathopnishad, D. Kenopnishad.
ये क्वेश्चन तो बहुत हाई डायरेक्ट है. The conversation between Nachiketa and Yama is actually one of the most well-known dialogues in Indian philosophy. It is found in the Kathopnishad.
बिल्कुल सही कहा हर्ष. कठोपनिषद में यमा और नचिकेता के बीच का डायलॉग डेथ, सोल और मोक्ष के कॉन्सेप्ट्स को एक्सप्लेन करता है. It's an insightful piece of literature.
Perfect. Let's tackle the next question about Milindapanho. It is a dialogue between the king Menander and which Buddhist monk? Options are A. Nagasena, B. Nagarjun, C. Nagabhata, D. Kumarilabhata.
I think यह डायलॉग नागासेना के साथ है. मेनंदर और नागासेना का डिस्कशन बहुत हाई फेमस है इन मिलिंदपन्हो.
करेक्ट हाश. मिलिंदापो फिलॉसफी और स्पिरिचुअलिटी को लेकर एक डीप कॉन्वर्सेशन है बिटवीन किंग मेनंदर एंड द मॉन्क नागासेना. सो द आंसर इज नागासेना.
Excellent. Moving on to the last question, which one of the following edicts mentions the personal name of Ashoka?
ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी लग सकता है, लेकिन एक्चुअली द माइनर रॉक edict I is the one which mentions Ashoka's personal name. It identifies him as Devanam PYQs, which he used in many inscriptions, but in this edict, his name, Ashoka, is mentioned.
Interesting fact अनन्या. यह information UPSC के लिए काफी important है because it highlights Ashoka's personal identity beyond his royal titles.
Great job, guys. I think यह discussion aspirants के लिए काफी helpful होगा to understand the depth and significance of these historical references. Alright folks, study hard and stay curious. Welcome back, friends. आज हम कुछ interesting UPSC previous year questions को discuss करने वाले हैं. These questions will not only test your knowledge but also add to your understanding of ancient Indian history. Ready हो जाओ to dive deep.
बिल्कुल समय. Let's start with our first question. It's about the map showing 4 of the 16 Mahajanapadas that existed in ancient India. The places marked A, B, C, and D respectively. Options are
A. Matsya, CD, Koshala, Anga. B. Surasena, Avanti, Vatsa, Magadha. C. Matsya, Avanti, Vatsa, Anga. D. Surasena, CD, Koshala, Magadha.
This is a classic question. हाश, यहाँ पे थोड़ा ध्यान दिया जाए तो वी कैन कनेक्ट दिस टू द जियोग्राफिकल लोकेशन इन एंशिएंट इंडिया. मैं कह रही हूँ कि द करेक्ट आंसर इज सी, मत्स्य, अवांटी, वात्सा, अंगा. क्योंकि हिस्टोरिकली दीज कॉरेस्पॉन्ड विद द नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न एंड सेंट्रल जियोग्राफिकल टेरिटरीज.
एग्जैक्टली अनन्या. और महाजनपदास के बारे में पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है as it helps understand the political and cultural background of ancient India. Let's move to the next question.
अगला सवाल है महायाना बुद्धिज्म के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में. बोधिसत्व अवलोकितेश्वर was also known as
A. Vajrapani. B. Manjushri. C. Padmapani. D. Maitreya.
ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी हो सकता है but if you are clear with your concepts of Mahayana Buddhism, it's easier. Avalokiteshwar is indeed known as Padmapani. So, the answer is C. Padmapani.
करेक्ट अनन्या. अवलोकितेश्वरा की सिग्निफिकेंस महायाना बुद्धिज्म में बहुत ज्यादा है. ही इज कंसिडर्ड एज द एम्बॉडीमेंट ऑफ कंपैशन. लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन.
ए फ्लैट बात करते हैं गुप्ता पीरियड की. द सिल्वर कॉइन्स इशूड बाय द गुप्ताज वर कॉल्ड
A. Rupaka. B. Karshapna. C. Dinara. D. Pana.
गुप्तास के इकोनॉमी और कॉइनेज के लिए ये क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट है. Silver coins issued by them were known as a rupaka. It's crucial to remember such terminologies for prelims.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the authors and their texts. Match list I with list 2.
List I, author. A. Varamahira. B. Vishakhadatta. C. Sudraka. D. Bilhana. List 2, text. 1. Prabandha Chintamani. 2. Mratsha Katikam. 3. Brihat Sanhita. 4. Devi Chandraguptam. 5. Vikramankadiva Charita. A. A3, B4, C5, D2. B. A3, B4, C2, D5. C. A5, B3, C4, D1. D. A1, B3, C5, D2.
इस क्वेश्चन में थोड़ा लॉजिक और मेमोरी का यूटिलाइजेशन होता है. द करेक्ट मैचिंग इज बी. A3, B4, C2, D5.
ग्रेट. ये मैचिंग क्वेश्चंस भी काफी फ्रीक्वेंट हैं, and they test our detailed understanding.
Let's wrap up with the last question on ancient Indian corporations. Which one of the following was a corporation of merchants?
ये तो relatively straightforward है. The answer is MoneyGramma, which was a well-known corporation of merchants in ancient India.
राइट. पता होने चाहिए कि एंशिएंट टाइम्स में भी कॉमर्स का नेटवर्क काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग था.
Exactly. आज के लिए इतना ही. UPSC aspirants, keep revising and stay curious. We'll return with more intriguing discussions next time. Hello and welcome back, aspirants. आज हम कुछ पिछले वर्षों के UPSC ऑब्जेक्टिव क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करेंगे. So, ready हो जाओ for some intense practice. Let's dive in with our first question.
Sure, Samay. Here's the first one. The question is about ancient organizations, 1997. Which of the following refers to an ancient South Indian assembly of Brahmin scholars?
A. Chaturvedamangalam. B. Parishad. C. Ashtikgaza. D. MoneyGramma.
Interesting question. This is actually about the village assemblies in South India. Chaturvedamangalam refers to Brahmin settlements given by kings in ancient Tamil regions. It's specifically mentioning the assemblies of Brahmin scholars.
Exactly, Chaturvedimangalam is the right answer for this one, option A. Let's move to the next question.
Alright, the next question is about the dating of the Badami rock inscription of Pulikasing I. The inscription is dated in the Saka year 465. If the same were to be dated in Vikrama Samvat, the year would be 1997.
A. 601. B. 300. C. 330. D. 407.
So, to convert Saka to Vikrama Samvat, we add 135 years. That makes it 465 plus 135 equals 600. So the correct answer here should be 600, which is closest to option A, 601. So, option A is what we go with.
चलो, next question में चलते हैं. Many of the Greeks, Kushanas, and Sakas embraced Buddhism rather than Hinduism because 1998.
A. Buddhism was in the ascendant at that time. B. They had renounced the policy of war and violence. C. Caste-ridden Hinduism did not attract them. D. Buddhism provided easier access to Indian society.
हाँ, this is a crucial one. Buddhism की अपील की वजह से, particularly its message of non-violence and equality, these groups found it more accessible than the caste-bound Hinduism.
Moreover, these groups were foreigners, so they naturally gravitated towards a religion that was more inclusive. The correct answer should be option D, because Buddhism indeed provided easier access to Indian society.
Yes, option D is correct. Let's move on. The Ashoka major rock edicts which tell us about the Sangam kingdom include rock edicts, 1998.
A. INX. B. IN 11. C. 2 in 12. D. 2 in 14.
The Sangam kingdoms are referred to in edicts 2 and 13, actually. But, since 13 isn't listed, it's a trick in the question. The correct option should be C. 2 in 12.
Correct, Harsh. It's these nuances in UPSC questions that we need to watch out for. Let's take the next question. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? 1998.
1. Emaraichkatikam, Shudraka. 2. Buddhacharita, Vasuvendhu. 3. Mudrarakshasa, Vishakhadata. 4. Harshacharita, Banabhatta. A. 1, 2, 3 and 4. B. 1, 3 and 4. C. 1 and 4. D. 2 and 3.
This one tests our knowledge of ancient literature. Emrich-Chakatikam was indeed written by Shudraka, Mudrarakshasa by Vishakadatta, and Harshacharita by Banabhatta. But Buddhacharita was written by Ashwaghosha, not Vasuvendhu. So, the correct pairs are 1, 3, and 4. Thus, option B is right.
Brilliant analysis, Ananya. So guys, एक और क्वेश्चन के साथ आज की सेशन खत्म करते हैं. These discussions are vital इनसे ये समझ आता है कि यूपीएससी की क्वेश्चंस कैसे टैकल करनी चाहिए. Keep practicing and all the best for your preparation. Hey Harsh, Ananya, it's time to dive into some fascinating UPSC questions from the past. Let's start with our first question about historical elements like gold coins, punch-marked silver coins, iron plow, and urban culture. The question wants us to arrange these in correct chronological order.
Oh yes, this is an interesting one. Let's break it down. If we look at these options, we can identify the sequence based on historical development.
I agree. सबसे पहले आयरन प्लाउ एंड अर्बन कल्चर के इमर्जेंस काफी अर्ली सिविलाइजेशन से लिंक होता है. आयरन प्लाउ का यूज एग्रीकल्चर में रिवॉल्यूशन ले आया था और अर्बन कल्चर ने सेटलमेंट्स को शेप किया.
Exactly, Ananya. So, urban culture and iron plow would appear before the development of coins. Punch-marked silver coins came before gold coins, which were introduced later in ancient India.
तो इसका सही सीक्वेंस होगा अर्बन कल्चर, आयरन प्लाव, पंच मार्क्ड सिल्वर कॉइन्स और फिर गोल्ड कॉइन्स. That corresponds to option D, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spot on. Moving on to the next question on Ashoka's edicts. Assertion है कि Ashoka believed social harmony was more important than religious devotion. और रीजन ये है कि he spread ideas of equity instead of promoting religion.
A flat ये तो क्लासिक क्वेश्चन है ऑफ असर्शन एंड रीजन. हस्बैंड्स एंड वाइफ्स भी पूछ सकते हैं ऐसे सवाल. तुम्हारे लिए क्या ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है? Laughs.
True that. Coming back to the question, both assertion and reason seem true. Ashoka's edicts focused on dhamma and societal welfare more than just religious propagation.
Yes, और रीजन Ashoka's vision को accurately explain करता है. Equity and harmony were central themes in Ashoka's governance.
So, the answer is likely, both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A.
बिल्कुल सही. And that's a wrap for today's session. These questions always remind us how interconnected our history is and how each element slowly built upon the last to create the rich tapestry we study today.
Absolutely. It's always exciting to analyze and discuss such topics, and it's equally beneficial for our preparation.
Indeed. Let's keep this momentum going for our future discussions. Thanks everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, where we dive deep into the intriguing world of UPSC preparation. आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं कुछ previous years के multiple choice questions. And trust me, they are as fascinating as they are challenging. We've got Harsh and Ananya here with us to break it all down. Ready, guys?
बिल्कुल, समय. UPSC के questions हमेशा analytical होते हैं, and they test not just your memory but also your understanding of India's rich history and culture. Let's jump into our first question.
Right. So the first question lists some significant historical sites: Lothal, Sarnath, Rajgir, and Nalanda. The task is to match these with their historical significance and choose the correct codes. काफी straightforward लग रहा है, लेकिन let's analyze each option carefully.
Exactly, Ananya. Let's start with Lothal. It's an ancient dockyard from the Indus Valley civilization. इसमें कोई doubt नहीं है, right?
Yes, absolutely. Lothal is undoubtedly recognized for its dockyard. Moving on to Sarnath, that's where Buddha gave his first sermon after enlightenment. ये जो हमारा second option है, वो भी सही है.
Great. Rajgir, however, is where the confusion might arise. It's actually associated with the first Buddhist council and not the lion capital. That was found at Sarnath, which is part of Ashoka's pillars.
Spot on, Ananya. Or finally, Nalanda is indeed one of the greatest ancient seats of Buddhist learning. So, out of the given sets, 1, 2, and 4 are correct. The correct answer is option C, 1, 2, and 4.
चलो, अब अगला question देखते हैं. This is about identifying the earliest royal order to preserve food grains during crises. This is an important part of ancient administrative practices.
This is a slightly tricky one. The earliest known royal order for this purpose is the Ramandi Edict by Ashoka. It's fascinating how these edicts were used as tools of governance and welfare in ancient times.
That's why knowing about Ashoka's edicts is crucial for any UPSC aspirant. They not only highlight administrative strategies but also reflect the philosophical and ethical underpinnings of Ashoka's reign.
बिल्कुल सही कहा, समय. UPSC not only tests your knowledge of facts but your understanding of their significance in history. It's really about connecting the dots.
Exactly. So, aspirants, remember to go beyond rote learning and always understand the context and implications behind historical facts.
And that's a wrap for today's discussion. Thanks, Harsh and Ananya, for such enlightening insights. To all our listeners, keep studying smart and stay curious. Until next time, happy learning.